The Justice Department is seeking a delay. The Trump Justice Department is seeking a delay in a case that is challenging a controversial voter ID law in Texas. A hearing in the case has been scheduled for today, but just hours after Trump was sworn in Friday, lawyers for the government requested the hearing delay because of the change in administrations. The Texas law requires individuals to present a specific type of government-issued photo ID before voting in person. Civil rights groups say the law violates parts of the U.S. Constitution and the Voting Rights Act because it was enacted to prevent blacks and other minorities from voting in the state. A federal appeals court has also ruled against that law. Now, the Trump administration has also asked for and been granted a delay in a hearing on a consent decree that calls for sweeping reforms in the city of Baltimore's police department. Government attorneys use the same reason given its request for delay in the Texas voter ID case. An additional time is needed to brief the new administration about the case. The requests for delays in both cases are not unusual in and of themselves, but they are raising concerns about how the Trump's Justice Department will deal with civil rights and voting rights cases moving forward. Joining us via FaceTime is Christian Clark, President and Executive Director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law. Also joining our panel, A. Scott Bolden, also attorney here in D.C. Christian, obviously this is not unusual, but this does raise the concern of folks like you when it comes to this issue of this Trump Department of Justice advocating on issues dealing with voter ID and civil rights.
Well, it is unusual. It is unusual for 3 hours in to this new term for this president for changes, sweeping changes to be underway at the Justice Department. The Texas photo ID case has been going on for 3 years, and you have groups like my group, the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, that has been fighting against photo ID. The Justice Department has been very ably pouring resources and time into fighting the law as well. We have attorneys who've got their bags packed, their arguments ready to go, and we're fully prepared to be in Texas for a hearing on Tuesday. You can imagine how jarring it was late on Friday afternoon to get a call from the Justice Department saying that they want to press pause and delay the hearing for 30 days. If the Justice Department took that kind of action across the board with respect to all pending cases, it would bring the department to a grinding halt. In my view, justice delayed is justice denied, and it was not appropriate action. It's action that I think we have to look at very carefully to see what this means. There will be new leadership arriving at the Justice Department today. We'll get a sense for who these people are, but we're going to keep our foot on the gas in making sure that these are folks who are committed to continued enforcement of our nation's federal civil rights laws. And
in fact, Christian, according to Democracy North Carolina, they say Trump's pick to be the Deputy Assistant AG for Civil Rights, he defended redistricting plans. He also was one of those leaders. David Latt is his name. This is the person who's going to be over the Civil Rights Division for DOJ. You look at his record, not good.
That's right. And they've also selected someone named John Gore, who's been on the wrong side of civil rights cases. He defended the North Carolina higher ed system in a case involving the bathroom bill in North Carolina. He's been in redistricting cases, and in all of those cases, he's been on the wrong side when it comes to enforcement of civil rights laws on behalf of our nation's minorities. So you combine this, the type of leadership that they are looking at, combined with this swift action taken on Friday afternoon to slow the wheels of justice, and it really presents cause for grave concern. Looming over all of this is the pending nomination of Jeff Sessions, someone who could not be bringing a record that demonstrates more hostility to civil rights.
Scott?
Well, Roland, I think your guest, Christian, is absolutely right about this. Mind my word here. This is the first shot across the bow, and it's an important shot because these cases, whether it's the consent decree or whether it's the Texas ID case, the facts haven't changed. The law hasn't changed. The facts and the law aren't going to change. The only thing that can change coming from this delay is the Justice Department's decision to enforce the law and to honor and respect the facts and move forward in the prosecution of these claims.
Monique, our attorneys are going to be very busy over the next 4 years dealing with this Trump Department of Justice. And they're going to need the backing of people who were at that march on Saturday as well to apply that pressure in the courts and in the streets.
Right, and my pushback here is that it is not the Trump Department of Justice. It is the United States Department of Justice. It is my Department of Justice, and we will have to insist upon that now because it's not just the facts and the law that haven't changed. The line attorneys haven't changed. The Justice Department lawyers were ready just like Kristen was ready to go with her lawyers. There was no need for this but for a policy shift way up at the top of the chain. It's not regular, it's not normal. So what we're gonna have to do in the states and what we're gonna have to do in opportunities like this is get people to scream and yell and shout until they are heard on these issues because there's no way that this happens unless we allow for it.
And Roland, watch this now. They're gonna have to figure out a way, if they're gonna change their position, how they can get out of these cases and these consent decrees. And one, it won't be easy because they're going to be before the judiciary, as you well know. But secondly, or are they going to take the position, we're going to continue in this vein and continue to move forward, but going after these cases and consent decrees, are we going to change our position and pull out? It may be too late, it may not be, but with this administration, watch them try it.
Final comment, Kristen.
Justice delayed is justice denied. And from the very beginning, we are going to bring pressure to bear to make sure that this Justice Department does not abandon its historic mission and responsibility to defend the civil rights of all Americans.
Y'all better get used to what I said. We will fight until hell freezes over, and then we will fight on the ice. Period. Christian, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Kickstart your day at 7 and get the news you need from the perspective you want. NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Every weekday morning at 7 on TV1.